Hold on tight, folks. The interstellar visitor 3I Atlas is still here, and we've just found out where it really comes from. The result is so crazy that it's left even NASA scientists speechless. We'll take a very close look at this today, and we're starting right away. First of all, sorry for the weird setup. I fled the heat to the seaside in Holland. In Sicily, I've often experienced 41-42 degrees, and with the dry heat and sea breeze, I didn't really find it that bad, but in a major German city, it was rather unpleasant. Let me know how you've been doing the last few days and how you've been handling the high temperatures. But of course, I'm still filming videos for you while on vacation. If you appreciate that, then please feel free to subscribe to the channel right now. You'll then always get a notification whenever there's a new video. And for those who've already subscribed, a thumbs up really helps the video out. 5,000 likes should be enough to appease the YouTube algorithm. Thanks, guys. So, 3I Atlas, our old acquaintance. An interstellar comet discovered last year that caused quite a stir. For anyone who isn't familiar with the name yet, we've known since July 1st, 2025, that a comet is sweeping through our solar system. And not just any comet. It doesn't come from our solar system. It originally comes from a foreign star system somewhere in the Milky Way. It was discovered by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS for short, in Chile, hence the name. It's only the third interstellar visitor we've ever caught in our cosmic backyard, after Oumuamua and Borisov, and it was truly something else. Shortly after its discovery, it became clear that this massive object is unusually active, producing huge amounts of gas, shining brightly, and racing through our system so fast that it will never return. Because of these unique characteristics, the idea persisted that 3I Atlas might not be a comet, but rather an alien space probe. The biggest advocate of this possibility was and is Harvard professor Avi Loeb, whom I've even interviewed.
My first question would be, how would we describe the scientific process of distinguishing between a natural object and a designed one? What kind of data do you expect to see that could clarify this?
Right. This is an excellent question because sometimes in life you encounter events that are low likelihood. Just to give you examples, the first gravitational wave signal was obtained from a pair of black holes, and it was detected by the LIGO experiment back in 2015. And since then, this was perhaps the most clear signal that we ever detected because it was a very high signal to noise ratio. The LIGO experiment also discovered two neutron stars merging, and that was early on, a couple of years later, and that since then we've never discovered such a clear signal. So sometimes things happen by luck. I met my wife on a blind date, and the question is how to quantify the likelihood of something happening. And in the case of 3I Atlas, there are really several unusual anomalies. First of all, its size and mass. So right now, my best estimate is that its size is bigger than 5 kilometers, and that's based on the mass that it needs to have, 33 billion tons, in order not to be deflected for 5 months before October as a result of its mass loss towards the sun. It was losing mass, and there was no recoil as a result of that. So from that, you get that it needs to be very massive. But the problem is that then you get that its mass is 1 million times more than the mass of the first interstellar object. And given that there is a limited reservoir of material, we should have seen 1 million objects like the first one before we see one giant object like the third one.
Personally, I don't find the arguments for an alien origin convincing, and based on everything we know, I assume that Comet Atlas is a natural object. But I'll admit, what I'm about to tell you is so strange that it once again puts Comet Atlas in a very special light. But first things first. The problem with these interstellar comets is that they zoom through the solar system at breakneck speeds. And once they're gone for good. So we have an extremely narrow window of opportunity to study these objects. Many people think 3I Atlas is long gone, having vanished from the solar system after paying us a brief visit. But 3I Atlas is still here. Today, July 2nd, it is located roughly 8.6 astronomical units from the Sun, about 1.3 billion kilometers out, between the orbits of Jupiter and Saturn. This means it's on its way away from us and on a path out of the solar system, but that will take a very long time. Scientists have taken advantage of this using the best telescope we have, the James Webb Space Telescope, and what they found left the research team led by NASA astronomer Martin Cordina momentarily speechless. The results were published this month in the renowned journal Nature, and let me tell you, the numbers in there are literally out of this world. So, what's this about specifically? The researchers measured two things. First, the ratio of heavy hydrogen, deuterium, to normal hydrogen in the comet's water. And second, the ratio of two carbon isotopes, the common carbon-12 and the rarer carbon-13. Now you might be thinking, Tim, what's that supposed to tell me? Patience, folks, because these ratios are like a chemical fingerprint. They reveal the conditions under which an object formed, the temperature, the radiation, and the age of the galaxy. In ordinary comets from our solar system, the deuterium to hydrogen ratio in water is about 0.03%. 3I Atlas contains a whopping 0.98% deuterium. That's more than 30 times as much. This is so far outside the realm of what we know about comets that, upon first reading, you might think there was a calculation error. And what about the carbon ratio? Throughout the solar system, in comets, meteorite rocks on Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, the ratio of C12 to C13 is fairly stable at about 89 to 93. 3I Atlas shows values between 123 and 191, which is also absolutely unique. Such high ratios are virtually non-existent in our part of the galaxy, except in very old, very distant, very metal-poor regions. Now we come to the heart of the matter. What does all this mean? Do these strange properties suggest that 3 Atlas might actually be an artificial object? What kind of anomalies would have to exist for this picture to be shaken at all? Professor Avi Loeb had this to say about it.
A lot of scientists say, okay, these anomalies that we've seen can be explained by natural causes. And some of them already have been explained by natural causes, right? I think the first color shift, for example.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so these critics might say, don't you think that also the other anomalies, the unexplained phenomena that we have now, that they can also be explained by natural causes?
They could, and I'm not. I'm actually. I would love to know the explanations, but what I'm arguing is we should not dismiss alternative interpretations while not explaining the anomalies. So what influencers like Brian Cox or Neil deGrasse Tyson are doing is basically saying to the public, it's a comet, that's it. They ignore the anomaly. They are not explaining. So science is not done by authority, not by making a statement and wanting everyone to believe it. The way the Vatican said about the Earth being at the center of the universe. You can make that statement, you can use as much force as you want, but the Earth was moving around the sun 4.5 billion times before the Vatican even existed, so the Earth didn't care about it. Whether we have a neighbor or not does not depend on which opinion is more liked within the human species. That's irrelevant. We want to figure out the thing, and therefore we should explain the anomalies if we want to make progress in our knowledge. Just saying that it's this or that is not really productive. It doesn't teach us anything. It teaches us something about human psychology, perhaps. And
Sure.
one question I was asked actually a lot is, why are the experts so dismissive of alternatives? And I explained that they are just like AI systems, that we train on some data set. So all the experts were trained on a data set involving comets.
A brief explanation of everything that has now been discovered. Deuterium heavy hydrogen only forms in ice during extreme cold. We're talking about temperatures below minus 243 degrees Celsius. So 3I Atlas must have formed in an environment that was brutally cold, without warming, without new formation, and without mixing. The ice has remained frozen solid since its formation, somewhere in the darkness between the stars. The carbon ratio points to a metal-poor environment, a region of the galaxy that has not yet been enriched by many generations of exploded stars. This is because carbon-13 originates mainly from specific stellar evolutionary processes that have produced increasing amounts of carbon-13 over the course of galactic history. A very high C12 to C13 ratio means this comet formed from material that has been exposed to relatively little of it, material from an early era of the galaxy. How early? The research group calculated it and arrived at an age of, brace yourselves, 10 to 12 billion years. Our solar system is 4.5 billion years old.
The universe is 13.8 billion years old. 3I Atlas would therefore be more than twice as old as the solar system, having formed when the universe itself was still in its infancy. At that time, the sun wasn't even a spark yet. Nothing in the solar system existed, and somewhere in another distant planetary system, not long after the Big Bang itself, 3I Atlas formed. Martin Cordner, the lead author of the new study, summarizes it this way: when analyzed in conjunction with models of the galaxy's chemical evolution, the carbon isotope composition suggests that 3I Atlas may have accreted as early as 12 billion years ago, following a phase of intense earlier star formation, a galactic fossil, so to speak, a frozen remnant from the early days of the Milky Way that just happened to fly right through our backyard. What particularly fascinates me is that these results weren't measured by just one team. Independently, scientists using the Very Large Telescope in Chile analyzed the carbon ratio in the comet's CN gases and arrived at very similar figures. And another team had already estimated the deuterium content shortly before perihelion using the ALMA telescope, which was also extremely high. 3 different teams, 3 different instruments, similar results.
Now you might ask, okay, if 3 Atlas is so old, how could it even get here? Scientists assume that it was ejected from its original planetary system billions of years ago, perhaps through a gravitational interaction with a giant planet.
Since then, it has traveled through the galaxy, silent, frozen in the dark for 12 billion years. And then by chance, in that brief blink of cosmic time, it flew through our solar system. Right in front of our telescopes. What an incredible cosmic coincidence. The mind-boggling thing is that none of these discoveries would have been possible without the comet's early detection. If it had been spotted later, perhaps only as it was leaving the solar system, there wouldn't have been time to point the James Webb Telescope at it. It takes lead time, planning, and coordination. The fact that it was caught early enough was in a way a stroke of luck for the entire scientific community.
And what does all this mean for the alien object hypothesis? In my view, it is another argument against it. Because how likely is it that an alien space probe is 12 billion years old? Such an object, especially if it had even been sent intentionally toward the solar system, would probably have to be much younger. And the following finding also speaks against it in my view.
Interstellar objects, visitors from other star systems, are not an anomaly. Model calculations suggest that our solar system is constantly being traversed by such travelers. Most are too small and too dim to see, but we've already spotted 3, and each one has shown us something unique. Oumuamua, the first, had a strange cigar-shaped form and accelerated in a way that still has astronomers puzzling over it. Borisov, the second, was a classic active comet from a foreign system, not so unlike our own, and 3I Atlas, the third, is a 12 billion year old frozen relic from the galaxy's infancy. 3 visitors, 3 completely different stories, but these are just the 3 we happen to notice. Right now, an unimaginable number of interstellar objects are likely flying through our solar system. We just haven't discovered them yet.
All alien probes? Hardly. On the other hand, it's also a bit presumptuous to even want to make statements about how likely objects from an extraterrestrial civilization could be.
Because I mean, we've sent probes with the Voyager probes, for example, who will at some day reach another star system. When they're behind the Oort cloud, they will someday be in another star system. So you don't have to be so advanced to do this.
Right.
What do you think?
So my view is we are not at the top of the food chain in the Milky Way galaxy. Let's give up on that idea, because we had only 1 century of science, modern science, since quantum mechanics was discovered, the general relativity was discovered, and they may have had, millions or billions of years of technological advances that make them highly superior to what we are. So as a result, we should use it as a learning experience, and rather than imagine that we can forecast what they might be like.
I'll keep you posted on all further developments regarding 3I Atlas and other interstellar visitors. So feel free to subscribe to the channel and remember to give a thumbs up so we can hit 5,000 likes. And while 3I Atlas is peacefully heading back into the darkness, something more unsettling is hurtling towards us out there. A NASA space telescope has gone out of control and is currently crashing towards Earth.
NASA has now launched a crazy rescue mission to prevent the worst from happening. To find out exactly what's going on and whether the mission succeeds, check out the next video in the top right corner. It's a truly wild story, and if you click in the bottom left, you can visit my space shop to check out the shirts from the videos, plush planets, meteorites, and much more. It's definitely worth checking out, and every order really helps support my work. Otherwise, I'd say see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.